Hello folks, this is Bob C-Gar coming to you from my studio in Springfield, Oregon. Yeah, you've already said it, a lawn chair in front of my garage. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, obviously there was a shooting yesterday in New York City. Few things, questions I have, things that don't really add up to me. Not that I'm trying to be a conspiracy theorist, because I'm not, but a few things I'd like to get some clarification on. One, the guy went from Las Vegas, Nevada to New York City. So he had to have had in mind who he wanted to attack, who he was going after. Now, early reports were that he screamed "Free Palestine," but no one's ever come out and said no, he didn't say that, or no one's come out since then and said yeah, he did say that. It's just like it just kind of floated away in the wind. Also, there was a video of a young lady, which looked like could be trans to me, but handcuffed, and they ran her around to the back of the building. She had blood on her face. Could have been from when they took her down, and then it looked like they put her in some kind of vehicle. And no one's talking about that. What was that about? Also, they say that he was going to the NFL office because he has whatever it is, CTE, I can't remember what it's called, but basically, brain damage due to playing football. Even though he only played high school football. So the NFL probably doesn't have a whole lot to do with that. But let's say that that's the reason he was going there, and he did that. Then who was he going to kill? Goodell wasn't there, so who was he going to kill? I say he wasn't there only because I think if he was, we would have heard about it. But I don't know that for a fact, that he wasn't there. But anyway, so there's a lot of unanswered questions. Also, he apparently had left a note. I don't know if it was a suicide note or whatever, but that it had to do with the NFL and the CTE or whatever. And so if he left a note as soon as he killed himself, and they got it, they would have searched his body. So they would have found that note, and yet there was absolutely no mention of it in the briefing they gave hours later. So there's a lot of questions I have as far as what really went down. What was the real motive? What's it all about? Also, the cop that got shot. Okay, was he armed? Did he fire? Did he, a guy walks in with an assault rifle. You would think that he would be definitely, drop the gun, especially in New York City, and especially in the Black Rock building. It doesn't make any sense at all that you would have a police officer there that would just not do anything or try to cover somebody instead of, taking the aggressive act. I don't know. I'm not a cop. I'm not trained in that. I don't know. But it just seemed to me like that there should be more to that. The other thing I want to talk about is making kind of a big deal about, I guess Trump's caddy dropped the golf ball down when Trump's golf ball was, I don't know, in the sand trap or, out of bounds or whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, if he's playing for money, yeah, make an issue of it. If he's playing in a tournament, make an issue of it. But if he's just playing around the golf on a Sunday afternoon, Monday afternoon, whatever, at his own course, I don't think that's a big deal. We call that a mulligan, and it's so common in golf that it's got its own name. So it's not like, let's make this guy the worst golfer of all time because he dropped the golf ball when inbounds. We don't even know if he took a stroke. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Who cares? If you're not playing for money or you're not playing in a tournament, nobody cares. Only ones that care are somebody who's trying to make something out of it. I have heard that Bill Clinton was the biggest cheater on the golf course of anybody. That was said by people who had golfed with him. I think could have been John Daly that might have said that. I can't remember, but I heard an actual golfer say that. They were talking about Clinton, and they say, oh, yeah, he cheated all the time. But nobody cares. Unless you're playing for money, nobody cares. So, or in a tournament, So I think it's not a big deal. Don't make a big deal of it. Let it go. The weather is great, and life is good. Keep your head up. School teachers, I know you're already starting to think about, I got to go back to school. You got several weeks still. Relax, enjoy it. Don't make it worse than it needs to be. You can do all of your worry in the last week. Let it go. Enjoy like summer goes forever. And when you get to the last week, then if you want to start dreading it, go ahead and dread it. But don't dread it now. Don't waste your summer dreading it. Hope everybody has a good week, and take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.